Okay, NEASC 5-year report. This is a
We-
little
we-
easier to write than.
Yeah, we talked about this
Nice.
at the last meeting, and we said we'd included a copy
Yep.
in the packet for you. And as you go through, like you said, Ann, it was a lot easier to write. And thanks to the override, we are able to really show that we are addressing almost all the standards, right, Peter? Except for the one that's requiring the school building to be
Right.
addressed.
Did you put this up on the website?
Well, that's
Yeah,
what
I did, yeah.
Did you? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Just, I think people in the
Yeah.
public should read it.
I'll just highlight it
Yeah,
real
why don't you
quickly.
do that, because for the
Um,
public, they might appreciate that.
Yeah, it's, ideally, it would be the last report that, in the process, in the cycle of accreditation that you would have to write. The goal is to have every highlighted recommendation and every recommendation complete, classified as complete by this time. So if you look at the report, the first section is a detailed response to highlighted recommendations. Highlighted recommendations are kind of points of emphasis that NEASC wants an answer to, as opposed to the regular recommendations that are part of the body of the report that the visiting committee gives you. So once the commission gets that report, then they have specific questions about some of the recommendations, thus the highlighted recommendations. And the second part of the report is any recommendation that was not classified complete in the 2-year report, you had to report on that. So that's the second part. And the third part of the report deals with the mission, substantive changes, which there aren't any. That would have been about 5 pages long if the override didn't pass.
Right.
Then the mission and a couple other things about strengths and weaknesses and things like that, and then something about the follow-up procedure. So just to summarize real briefly, there were 4 highlighted recommendations, but they had 20 points of emphasis in those highlighted recommendations. Those were all of the things that NEASC really wanted an answer to after the visitation, and they were mostly facility questions. And then there were 7 responses to recommendations that were left from the 2-year report that were not classified as complete. So all of the items are now complete except for the ones that deal with the facility. And we don't believe that we are going to satisfy them until we have a new building in the district that is open and
Right.
operational. So we will probably stay on warning for that time. So the things that are still up there that we had to, that have a classification of in progress or plan for future is the building project. That's in progress. Lack of sufficient number of classrooms. That is a real problem that's getting worse every year as the enrollment increases in the middle high school. This is from the original report, insufficient student parking. I rejected that.
You rejected it again,
Yeah.
I saw.
So I just reminded them that I rejected that. The use of the stage as a classroom, it's planned for the future. Sufficient field space, I rejected that. And
Just for my education, what do you mean by you rejected it, just so I understand?
that means I don't, they are claiming that we have a lack of sufficient parking for students, and I don't agree with them. I think that we do. Parking on campus is a privilege. We have a very large area to park and drive for everybody to drive. Same thing with fields. I think that we have a sufficient number of fields. The quality of the fields is a problem.
It's a different issue.
Right, but we have fields.
But we
have
have
the fields.
fields,
Right.
right, yep.
Got it.
And then the bleachers being too close to the playing surface of the gym. And, I did, if you look in here, there was what is my plan in the meantime? And one of the things that we're looking for with the bleachers is to buy some new bleachers, but it's really we don't have much capacity there now, and it's gonna really cut into them if we have to move them back.
And the goal would be in the new project, if the town approves a project, is to really look at the size of the gym and really, determine whether or not, and again, it might cost a little bit more. That's why we have to
Right.
research it.
Build
But
a
the
gym,
town
yeah.
might say, well, that's worth it because, gym space is at a premium. And if it were sufficient size that our varsity games could be played there, then that mitigates the issues,
Could be a
so
revenue
much.
generator too.
And it
Get
could be.
outside people
It
coming in to use
absolutely
it.
could be a revenue generator, yeah.
So that's the report.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carol, when it's September, when there's an answer to this, I think,
Oh, yes.
Probably, yeah.
I think that's information that the town really wants to,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
to what their money just did.
Yeah, Ann will get a that's CC to Ann and Carol
Right.
also.
And it'll definitely be in your packet, and then it'll go
Absolutely.
on the website as well, as soon as we get it.
Yeah, it is really important for those status reports to be available to the public.
Yep. Okay?
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Peter. Okay, superintendent's information for the committee. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. Financial report, Terry. Line item
Okay.
transfers.
First for the new members, periodically, I would say generally at least monthly and hopefully a little more frequently than that. We do transfers to move money between lines for various purposes. This time of year, it's a little different in that what we do is we're at the point of where we're starting to unencumber purchase orders, where there's going to be some money left over. We're finding that there may be a utility line or some line that we have, for whatever reason, we're going to find out that we're going to be slightly overexpending that line. So we tend to be closing down these lines and trying to bring them back to zero. And ultimately, obviously, that's where we want to be at the end of the school year. So you'll see a number of these that are closing out accounts. In the first section, as it says, is where you're getting the money from. So this is all areas where we're taking money from. And then I think it starts on the back of the first page and goes down to the third page. It says, where is the money going to? And then you see various things there. Down at the very end or bottom of the third page, you'll see there's a variance of 0. That's what it always should be because the two ends should balance each other. And in this particular group of transfers totals $41,756.43. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to accept transfers numbered 453 through 522 as outlined on the May 26th transfer sheet.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you. Okay, end of year report.
Audit.
Okay, sorry, end of year report audit.
You have a copy of the audit in your packets, I believe, along with a response and action plan. The response and action plan I gave you were to the items that were not already corrected. Again, I think I pointed out in the memo, there's been a slight change in how they do the audits now, which I think is actually a good thing, is that in the past, what would happen is if we filed the amendment, they wouldn't note it, you'd simply not see it. Okay, now they note all of those things still, but they show that it's been amended, and that way it's, I think, nice for me, because I have a record that's much more complete next year when I go back and say, oh yeah, when I did that line last year, there was this issue with the crosswalk or whatever it might have been. So it's good for me to be able to go back and find that information. Happy to answer any questions on any of the responses or the audit in general. The end of year report, of course, is what determines a lot of different things, not the least of which is the calculation for per pupil expenditures and foundation budget.
No. I was, but I'm not.
What? There's some pretty significant swings in here. What happened?
Well, you remember one of the notations was having a crosswalk. Munis doesn't generate an automatic crosswalk, so we have to create that manually.
Right.
In doing that, it's the first year that we've had it, I created one that was written out. It had some bugs. That was one issue. The other issue was,
Terry, I'm sorry, what's a crosswalk?
a crosswalk means that bridge. For example,
That might still not help.
No, that's okay. Let's just say for the sake of argument that the state's account code for, let's just say it's 2,300.
Between our
In
system and
Munis,
state.
in Munis, it might be 1,000. I've got to create the link between those two.
Got it.
So I created the crosswalk. There were some bugs in it. That was one problem. A couple of things were just data transposition errors, okay, that she knows. The other thing I think that was the big piece of the, and quite frankly, when the auditors were on site, we worked forever to try and figure it out. We weren't able to figure it out till after they went back and both sets got to review it, is, if you remember, in FY10, that's when we replaced the boiler. Okay, and there was an issue on where we recorded that in the end-of-year report. And once we figured that out and moved that to a more appropriate place, sorted out a couple of other things, everything balanced off. The thing that was tough for us on site is when we were looking at all the individual entries, they matched up with the crosswalk. The problem was the crosswalk had some problems, and that's something we had to go back and sort out.
Was there a change in per pupil spending or net school spending or anything like that?
Well, we won't know the official, I take that back. There was, we've risen the rank, okay?
Okay.
We're now 325th out of 328. However,
Moving right along.
however, Somersworth and Berkeley are gonna condense together, so they're gonna actually shrink a little bit. I will tell you, I will tell you for though, just for edification, I did sort of a preliminary, what will the override do for us? And again, this is based on the 2010 filings, but we probably jump about 7 or 8 slots. So I mean, we'll still be in the 300s,
Assuming no one else makes a change.
assuming nobody else makes a
Manchester Essex
change.
just passed theirs, but they're already so far ahead of us, it doesn't
So-
matter.
All right.
So I mean, we will be moving up in the
Going on to
ranking.
maintenance program.
What you have before you is
What we're doing.
what we're going to, this is basically all of the maintenance that we're going to be doing this summer
Okay.
on this the sheet that looks like this. And then behind it, you'll see individual school sheets, and there's 2 sheets for each school. One sheet is the summer maintenance, one sheet is capital expenditures. Now, I would tell you that this is really still a living document. I mean, since this was put out, a couple of the principals have identified some things that have come up, so this is a good working plan, but it will be tweaked again before we get started for the summer.
Can I just bring up one, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, David.
Bring up one issue that, I'm not sure if it's on this list or not, but you know the stairs that go from the dumpster down to the football field?
Yes.
Have you seen?
Those are a disaster. Those are
The
dangerous.
stairs are fine, but it's.
No, there's sections of the stairs that aren't even safe.
But it's, I'm looking at the top. Like when you go to the first stair, there's like a space where the
Big gap.
tar is like worn away, and there's like.
Yeah, the steps by the Donahoe.
But isn't that supposed to be maintained?
No.
Oh, I
No,
thought
no,
that's
the-
where you're
the
talking
steps-
about. Because those are
the
those are the
dumpster.
bad ones.
I'm talking about the ones by the dumpster where the boys' locker room. They go down
Oh no, I don't go in
To the
there.
field.
to the football field.
I know what you're talking about.
You know the stairs I'm talking
And,
about.
Yes.
and I know
There's-
Jack,
There's a section of the tar that seems to have like eroded or something, and it just seems.
and I know Jack was working with Peter Durkee, and I think Peter's gonna come over and try to help us out.
Okay.
Can you
in trying to
also
remedy
take a
that.
look at the stairs going down?
Well,
to
those
that
are supposed to be
parking lot?
maintained privately
Parking lot.
by the Donahoe Memorial.
By the Donahoe Memorial.
Those stairs are dangerous.
Yeah, those stairs, they always.
Dangerous, and
They-
those are
they-
supposed to be being
they break every
maintained
year.
by a private
Yeah.
group
That is
who put it
hard
in
to-
there.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, that's been my understanding too, and I probably haven't paid the attention to it I should.
Because that's how we approved it.
But the
We
bottom
approved
step,
it.
you're right, because it's like they fall apart every year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it needs to be fixed.
Someone's gonna fall.
The same with where the kids go
What,
up.
you know the
Well,
stairs,
he's
that,
talking about
you know the
this-
stairs that go,
One Dave's talking about or the other?
we're talking about two different, well, both,
Both.
both.
Yeah. The stone ones.
Yeah,
The
that
flagpole.
that go
Yeah.
like
Yes.
down.
Those are dangerous.
We didn't get our money's worth.
Well, those are supposed, that was donated.
No,
No.
no,
I thought it.
no, the garden was donated.
I don't think
They
they.
a contract at a.
Yeah, it was a relative.
No.
No.
No, but I thought it was the garden part of it.
No,
Okay.
the Donahoe pod is,
And the
has
bench.
nothing to do with the steps. It
Okay.
goes to the
Yeah.
left.
Yeah, it has the
The
bench.
steps,
Right.
the contractor didn't do it right, so it was a mess from the beginning. And
Okay.
it was
We'll look
supposed
at
to
that.
fix it